Okay, so we're live.
Hi everyone, my name is Letícia, med student from UFMG, from the 5th year, and member of the International Director of GEDA.
Hi everyone.
Sorry guys, I was just muting the connection here so we wouldn't hear ourselves. So I'm Isabella. I'm a 5th year medical student from UFMG as well. And me and Leticia, we are members of the International Directory of GEDA. And we also have here Rafael, and he's our the director of GEDA, and he's going to explain to you guys a little bit about who he is and what is his role and what GEDA is.
Hi everybody. As they said, I'm a colleague of them, and GEDA is a study group here in UFMG, in which we study didactics, study techniques, time management, and also discuss clinical cases. And also, we are kind of a support group here too, because we share experiences, we share what's going well and what's not during our course. In this way, we believe to help each other's mental health.
Yes, and speaking about mental health, we choose this subject, Perfect and Imperfect, to talk about something that is very precious for us, that is our moment in med school. Sometimes we spend most of our times there, and some of us want to be perfect, to not make mistakes, and the society demands this from us. So, inspired by Brené Brown, in her TED Talk, she speaks about the power of vulnerability and how vulnerability can connect us. Because when we show each other who we really are, and we are not afraid to say, I'm sorry, I don't know, can you help me? I can deal with this alone. We connect ourselves. So we want to talk about this from the whole world. We met students from big universities here like UFMG, Harvard Medical School, Boston University School of Medicine, and USP. We want to be together talking about this, to connect all the med students from the whole world, to say that let's not be afraid to be imperfect. It's okay that we don't know, and we can do this together, because it's hard. It's hard to admit that we can do something sometimes.
So
Hi everyone. My name is Hannah. I'm a Brazilian from Belo Horizonte, and I'm in my first year at Harvard Medical School, studying medicine. And I know Letícia for a while, and this project actually started in Brazil at UFMG in Jeddah, and we all got inspired. And students here from the Latino Medical Student Association, which I'm a part of as well from the board, and we participated and we sent some videos to Jeddah. And now we started this project here at Harvard Medical School, Perfectly Imperfect too. And students have been sharing their videos in our Instagram, hms.lmsa, as well as in Jeddah and in Jeddah's Instagram. And today, actually, we had our first event that was very successful. That it was like a perfectly imperfect event that we talked about vulnerability. We had the power of vulnerability workshop, actually, that people shared with each other times that they were vulnerable and really opened up to each other, students. And they all share videos and pictures that we'll be posting on Instagram soon. So you guys can watch.
For just a second, Isabella, we will speak a little about UFMG data and social support.
Okay, we wanted to start out by explaining a little bit how what MedConnect is, because and how we started it, and what are our aims actually. So Hannah and Leticia, they knew each other from here, and then when Hannah went to Harvard Medical School, they wanted to create something to kind of connect the two schools and create projects together. And you guys went to talk to the dean and everything. And we decided to start this project. And then they came to me and we wanted to do some video conferences about various subjects, in fact. And we chose mental health to start with. So it's not going to be the subject of all of our conferences, but it's the start of it because that's one of the subjects that we mostly talk about when we started meeting each other because we wanted to know how it was to be a medical student in another school. So we started out by talking about the grades and subjects and how many hours a week we had to study. And we wanted to know if it was the same thing in Brazil and in Harvard regarding times, how many hours we stay at school, and if we sometimes have this feeling that we spend more time at the university than we do at home, for example. And like this mental health talk is something that we've been doing a lot at my university, UFMG. We have been studying this a lot and talking about it a lot, and we feel that this is something very new. And people, medical students, they usually think we usually think we are uh, like invincible. We have to have good grades and we have to know everything. And sometimes we just can't handle everything. And this leads to depression and anxiety and burnout and other things. And that's why we wanted to start talking about it. So we can see that it doesn't matter where you are and which school you are at, everybody feels it in different ways. And everybody has this pressure of wanting to succeed and wanting to be a good doctor, but also we are starting to share how we feel and how hard it can be for all of us. So, like Leticia said, we had this study conducted at our school, which is called QualiMed, which are some data that were from the students, medical students, and some of the key points we wanted to share with you guys today were the about anxiety and depression. So we had 985 students saying that they had anxiety at a minimal level, but they still felt sometimes that they were anxious about it, and that was 67% of the students. But we kind of thought that it was interesting that we had 16% of the students that actually said that they feel that their anxiety is severe or moderate. And all of this was measured by the Beck scale. I don't know if you guys are familiarized with. And so, okay. And we have this data that says that people feel more anxious as the years of medical school goes by. I don't know if you guys know that, but in Brazil we have 6 years of medical school because we don't have college before. So there, like in those 6 years, we feel that our anxiety becomes worse, uh, and not, I don't know, doesn't become better. Maybe we would think that with time we would learn more and feel more fulfilled with knowledge. I don't know, feel more prepared, but I don't think that's what maybe that's what how we feel. And another thing that we thought that was a little bit concerning is that regarding depression, uh, 549 people said that they feel some kind of depression, which represents 37% of the students of our school. So we think that this is like way above average than national average. So and people also have this feeling that depression gets worsened with the years going by. And this is some one of the reasons that we really wanted to talk about this subject.
Yes.
So sorry, can you just repeat the numbers? How many students have they think they have depression?
Uh, 549 people.
549.
37% of the students
Okay. And
the questionnaires.
okay, about 500. And anxiety?
Anxiety, it was, we had four, how do you say that, degrees of anxiety. We had five. We had no anxiety, minimal anxiety, mild anxiety, moderate anxiety, and severe anxiety. So,
Okay.
67% of the students, or 985, said that they have minimal anxiety. But we have 16% of the students that said that they had severe or moderate anxiety, which was about 235 people, I think.
Okay. So people feel more anxious than depressed in our university, right? In total? Something, no?
I think that 235 is for the 67%.
Okay, I don't know if it really matters. Sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no, it's okay. I think we can discuss this after.
Yeah. Sure.
But we just wanted to present the data for you guys right now, and then we go. Do you want to say?
We can talk about social support.
Okay. You can say it because I said a lot.
So in UFMG, we have some groups that try to provide social support, which means that support for people to feel loved, to have feeling of belonging, and to feel valued. We have Jedan that Rafael spoke a little about. We have, I'm going to say in Portuguese because they're our group names. So, Redes, our student union, that is like our DA, Brazilian people know about it. We have groups for music, like, I don't know how to say in English.
No. Okay.
Music, sports, theater. So we have Psicose, Encantarte, Show Medicina. We have Diretório Científico. We have groups for minorities, including Coletiva Alzira Reis for women, Colar for LGBT, and Coletivo Geni. So we have a lot of groups where people can feel connect with each other, which is something very important for mental health, to provide mental health. We also have a group of psychologists and psychiatrists that can listen to the students and help them with their questions, and a place that students can go and complain about the course. It's called Escuta Acadêmica. So we want to hear from you which strategies your university has. So maybe it's something that we can create together and inspire each other with actions and groups. It's something good. You want to say something about?
Okay. So, Hannah, we wanted to hear from you and from LMSA a little bit about what are your thoughts on it.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone, I already introduced myself. Again, my name is Hannah, and here there are three people representing Harvard Medical School. So other than me, there's Oscar. Oscar is the chair of the Latino Medical Student Association here at Harvard Medical School, and Christine. Christine is very involved with wellness here at Harvard Medical School. She has given many talks and she's really engaged on it. And so she's going to be talking about the many resources that Harvard Medical School gives to our students. But just to start, I want to say that we have just the structure of the school makes a huge difference, I think. So, for example, we have class from 8 to 12:30 p.m., 8 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And I believe that at BUSM, that's the same thing. By the way, just to introduce the other schools very quickly, Paul Franco is representing Boston University School of Medicine, and Kawe is representing USB, and they're going to be talking after us. So like I was saying, most medical schools here in the United States, they have class from 8 to 12:30 p.m. And I know that a lot of medical schools in Brazil have class in the morning and in the afternoon. So that makes a huge difference, I think, because we do have to study in the afternoon and we have to prepare for the next day. For example, here at Harvard, we have flipped classroom. So we have to study, prepare for the school the next day. And the next day we have like cases, it's case-based learning. So we really don't have many lectures at all. So we have to do that studying by ourselves, but we have more freedom really to see what's more effective for us to go home and study and maybe have more free time and take care of ourselves. So I think they give us a lot of like self-care time, which is very important for medical students. So that's one of the things that I'm talking about, like just the structure, how medical education is built here, that makes a big difference. And now, and also something else that also is built into the structure here is pass fail. So really in our first year, especially, we do not have grades. Like most medical schools in Brazil have grades, right? If I'm right. So, and you guys have like above 90%, it's an A. I'm not sure how exactly it is in Brazil, but here it's pass fail. And the exams are hard, and we have a lot to learn in a very short amount of time. Here at Harvard, we have 1 year to learn all of the material for medical school, and then we go to the hospital right away. So we have to study really hard, and having the pass-fail makes a huge difference for us to study, but still not be too stressed, regarding grades and be too fixated on grades and competitivity. We kind of decrease competitivity by having pass-fail. Okay, so now I've talked enough. Now Oscar and Christina are going to talk to you guys about mental health statistics here at Harvard Medical School and in medical students in the United States. And Christina is going to talk about resources that are available here at Harvard Medical School for our students.
Yeah, so before Chrissy talks about some of the resources at HMS, I want to talk a little bit more about what the school has been doing in terms of getting data from mental health. And I think you guys did a great first step in really understanding what are the numbers, who is depressed and who is anxious. And at the beginning of the year, they sent a survey to all the medical students. This is actually something that Harvard Medical School does every year, is to get a kind of like a snapshot of what the mental health statistics look like here. And after discussing with the dean, the statistics here at Harvard Medical School are pretty comparable to the rest of the United States. And so really across all the med schools in the US, Harvard does not do either better or worse. It's kind of the same, but it's definitely lower than the rates that you mentioned at your medical school. So some of the numbers are, so actually 1 in 4 medical students show depression signs. That's actually 27% of medical students report depression or having depressive symptoms. And actually 11% experience suicidal ideation during medical school. So these numbers are pretty similar across, and they're still staggering. They're still very high because medical school is hard and it is very stressful. But I think, like Hannah was saying, having the structure be different, having pass-fail, and having some of the resources that Christy will talk about, it really alleviates those numbers. It really lowers them because we know that it's hard and we know that it's stressful, but at least we can work towards making it better. Do you want to talk a little bit about the resources?
Sure. Hi, so my name is Christine. I'm one of the classmates of Hannah and Oscar. I'm going to tell you about resources at Harvard Medical School for mental health. So there are both official and unofficial resources. In terms of official resources, I think the school has been making a pretty big push in terms of like making more resources available. And one of them is we have HUHS, which is like the University Health Service. And through that service, students can find a psychiatrist or a therapist, and they make sure that students know that it's confidential and there's no stigma and it's not going to affect you in any way academically if you seek help. And this is made very clear to us at the beginning of the year that this official support is out there so that if you need mental health care, there's no stigma to seeking help. And Other official sources of help include our societies. So at Harvard, we're divided into 5 societies, and each society is very close, like a family. And you have at the top your society deans and advisors, and each student gets their own advisor. And this is someone who can help you out with anything that's happening in your life. You can talk to them about mental health, and for instance, if something happened in your life and you need to take time off, they can help you work around that and plan out your class schedule and everything. So they want to make sure that they can accommodate you. And lastly, recently we had our office hired a new disability directors, and the disability it's like a broad term that refers to many different illnesses, including mental illnesses, and students who have these things going on in their lives can register with this office and receive accommodations. For instance, like if you miss an assignment or you can't come to class one day, it's understood that you're trying your best, but sometimes these things happen and it's okay to work together around them. So I've talked a bit about official resources, and for more unofficial things like between students, as has been mentioned already, we also have like student cultural groups and student associations that provide community spaces and focus on wellness, especially bringing people together and being willing to share about things that are going on in our lives. And recently we had 2 like school-wide gatherings that were really important. One of them was we had a community gathering back in the winter where the whole class got together. Like there were like 100 people in just in one room, and we talked openly about how we felt and like tried to be honest about the struggles that we're going through. And before spring break, we also had an event called Fabric that was like a big multicultural show for our class. And that was really like an opportunity for people to show different aspects of their character and like their identity beyond just medical school. So those are some of the things that our class has done, like both official resources and unofficial things that our class has done together to bring people together and be vulnerable. And it's definitely like based on the data that Oscar has cited, there's definitely still a lot of work that needs to be done. But we do feel like these things are a step in the right direction.
Thank you, Christine, Oscar. And if you guys have any questions at any time, everyone who is watching, please send questions and we can answer live. And we'll be answering questions after each university presents. So now we're gonna, Paul is gonna talk and represent Boston University School of Medicine.
Hi, everybody. Can you all hear me okay? All right. So my name is Paul. I'm a first-year medical student at Boston University School of Medicine. And I think everybody so far has done a really good job kind of gathering the scope of the problem on how prevalent mental health issues are among students at medical school, and how much is needed. And while I don't have any data for you from our school, I can tell you that the problem definitely manifests itself here too, and we do a lot of support for each other and our classmates. And I guess I could first take you through a little bit of like kind of how our curriculum is structured at Boston University and how that's conducive to promoting student wellness. So it's similar to HMS or Harvard Medical School in the sense that we have class 8 to 12 every day, and it is pass-fail, which is a huge, huge asset in kind of calming yourself down and really letting you learn without unnecessary stress. But one of the things that I think also is really important at promoting wellness in our curriculum is that a lot of our classes are not mandatory. So, and our lectures, our didactic sessions are recorded. So we can go home, and if we have something to do that day, or we really are having a tough day, we need to take a personal day, or if you just learn better, you can watch the lectures at home and do it on your own time. And I think that our administration did a really good job of recognizing that Everybody learns a little bit differently. Everybody has different needs. And it's a huge, huge help to our students. And I think that the way that mental health among students at BU is handled is kind of really centered among kind of recognition by the administration and a really strong communication between our administration and our students. So we have student liaisons and committees that meet weekly or monthly with our administration and our deans to talk about what's going right, what's not going right. We have all of our students, each module or like subject. So let's say we just finished endocrinology today, we're on our summer. So we meet with them and talk to them what's going on, where are our student needs. And it's really, it almost feels like the way you would be represented in government, where the people have a voice, our students have a voice at our university, where we can talk to our administrator and say, here's where we need help, here's where we could use a little bit more room. And our administrators are really receptive to that. We also have sort of informal events or walk-in talks with our dean. So we can meet, our Dean of Student Affairs, Angela Jackson, will meet with students every single day in some weeks of the year and just walk around our neighborhood in Boston with maybe 4 other students just to hear directly from the students what's going on at our school and what needs work, what's going well, and just having that really close collegiality between our administration and our students. And like was mentioned before, we also have school-sponsored and university-wide sponsored mental health services, and then also those kind of tight-knit student-to-student and student-run groups that promote mental health in the university. So I think I could break it down into components of like emotional health, social well-being, and then kind of academic well-being at our school. And emotionally, for emotional health, or kind of traditionally what you think of as mental health, we have in our student fee, in our tuition is included like a student health fee. And that includes behavioral health services that are available to us on our medical campus and also at our larger undergraduate campus. For Boston University. And Storton's how she was saying HUHS or like student health services. So you can make an appointment for behavioral health if you need to talk to somebody, which is so important to be able to talk to somebody who has experience in helping somebody who might be going through stress or any problems they might be going through. And it's widely available. I know some of my friends who have used it and have come out feeling a lot better, and especially under all the stress of medical school can a lot of times exacerbate that. We also have a quiet room, which is essentially a meditation room or a space where you can just go and be calm and at peace and just take a moment to just take a load off, distress, and do whatever you need to do for however long in our student lounge area, which is a really nice thing to have. We also have, for fostering communication, our advisors, as was mentioned before, are really, we have like maybe 4 different advisors for anything that you can think of. Later in school, we get a career-specific advisor. We have our peer advisors, which is a program organized by our students to connect us to somebody who's been through everything that we're going through right now. And then also faculty advisors who are representatives from the Dean of Student Affairs office. So they kind of we have another direct channel to get to our administration through them. And then I think social cohesiveness is a really important part of mental health in medical school when there's so many things that are stressful, to just get together with your class, banter a little bit, and just have a sense of belonging. And that comes through a number of different student groups, and also our just things that are coordinated formally and informally by our students. We had at the end of our first semester, we had a formal where it's nice to see everybody get dressed up for a night of dancing and socializing and having fun. And these big class-wide cohesive events, I think, are really important. And another one of those we had, similar to how Harvard Medical School had their fabric show, which is a cultural diversity show. We didn't do quite the same type of diversity show, but we had something called Skit Night, where we got together and we made all these little skits showing like inside jokes about things that might have happened. So like throughout the year, congregated into this video to kind of laugh at some of the things that have happened throughout the year. So if we had a really tough test throughout the year, there might be taking a scene from The Office or something and then tailoring it to that test week, and just kind of finding a way to laugh with each other about all of the stress that we've been going through throughout the year in a way that brings the entire class and the administration. We had a lot of our professors come and watch us impersonate them and poke fun at them also. And that creates a really healthy environment. And I think intellectually, so a lot of the stress in medical school comes from stress of school and needing to take in this insane amount of information that we have to take in this really short time. So having resources for like being able to take information in better, whether that's professors going out of their way to hold longer office hours for students, student-run study circles, tutoring, and just a lot of educational supports. We have an entire office in our student affairs office dedicated to helping students learn how to study and make sense of the incredible amount of information that goes our way, sort of like Jedam does for their students in Brazil. And then, yeah, finally, it's and I haven't been able to deal with this yet, but a lot of the stress that comes in our third year and fourth year, where we're on our clinical rotations, and sometimes you can have experiences with doctors or residents that you might not get along so well with, and they're responsible for your grade, and that can be a really stressful experience sometimes. So we have a committee called our Appropriate Treatment in Medicine Committee, where we can report anonymously without any retaliation or fear of retaliation directly to our dean of our medical school, who will look at all of the complaints and take them seriously, to make sure that our students are being treated appropriately, because that's a really unnecessary stress that unfortunately has historically been a problem throughout medical training. So just to wrap up a little bit here, having a really cohesive student body and lots of groups is really, really important for maintaining the mental health of our class. I know it has been really helpful for me. And just having a really close communication with an administration that's really receptive. And with that, I'll pass it on to my colleague from USP.
Nice, guys. Hello. Sorry? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I was just saying thank you.
Oh, okay, nice. Yeah, thank you for sharing with us all this information. It's really awesome to know what is happening all around the world. So it's really interesting to see in the US and other universities here in Brazil. My name is Kawe. I'm a fifth year at USP Med School. And so I think here at USP, we have a lot of unofficial like groups that can help students with this question, like mental health problems and this kind of thing. So we have a lot of I don't know, like sports center and theater groups and this kind of things that can help students to socialize and to meet other students and have like a this kind of experience to share their problems with others and this kind of things. But I think we had a problem at my university with this kind of mental health problems. For example, in my class in 2017, I had like 4 friends who had mental health problems. They tried to suicide, and this is something that can. I think it happens a lot here at USB. Maybe in other universities, it happens a lot also. And my university just has one official um, like group that can help students. It's called Grapal. It means something like student support group. Sorry, can you hear me? So it's like a student support group. I have their webpage open here, so I would just inform you what they do at the university. Basically, they offer psychiatric and assistance to FMUSP students and also for residency. And annually, the first year students, the freshmen, they are called by letter for an individual interview at Grapal. And this way, the group the group is aware of the students' needs and everything, and they can follow up the students and know how they, if they need help or something, so they can actually help the students further on the university, on the med school process. So it's the only thing we have here at my university. We don't have actually data about it. As I said, by my own experience, I've seen a lot of students that needed help in the past, and yeah, it's something to think about it, how to improve. So that's why I'm here actually. So to learn from you guys what you are doing, and to think about how I can improve the situation here at my university, because it's something that we need in Brazil, especially here in Brazil, where we have this, about 12 hours of classes or something like that. We have to spend the whole day at the university from 8 a.m. to 18 p.m. We have classes, a lot of lectures, and also we have to study at our at home. At least in São Paulo, it's how it works. I don't know exactly if in other universities in Brazil it's similar, but I think so. Well, that's it. I'm just sharing my own experience. Yeah.
Thank you, Kawe. So thank you everyone for sharing their experiences, and we're gonna turn back to FMG now to start again from each school, talking about a question that we got here. We got a question from Lavinia Barcelos, and she said, one of Brazilian medical students' problems is the competition. Almost everybody don't help each other or avoid doing this. So how do you feel about it, and what can we do to face it? So what can we do to reduce competition between medical students? So why don't we do each school talking a little bit about that, starting with UFMG?
So I know competition is a problem, and I believe that one thing that we can do to help is build the teamwork spirit, because we are bigger when we are together. So if we go with the team, we help each other, it's better for us, it's better for the patient, because we won't know everything alone, right? You can be a great student, you can be an awesome doctor, but you will need teamwork. You can't handle it alone. So try to speak to each other, to your friends, try to help each other. And I believe that these things will create a help spirit, you know? Rafael, want to say something?
One thing I see as first step in this idea of building this like group spirit is sharing your resources. I don't know if you write to study, if you make flashcards as I do, or whichever technique you use. If you share it instead of holding it to you, you kind of show that you believe that your class is a team and you want to share it, and you believe that sharing you all go further than if you stay alone in this process.
And I think this is somewhat the way that Jidan is. I think that when we have the freshmen coming into our groups and we talk to them about how UFMG works and how medical school works, and we always try to encourage them to share the resources and to help each other out, and we always talk about like how competitive it can be in competition, but how important it is for us to thrive together, you know, and actually help each other out. So we try to address those subjects during our meetings, and I think that's kind of, maybe it's subtle, I don't know, but that's what we're doing right now to try to change our the minds of at least of the new people that are coming into our university. How about what do you do at Harvard, Hannah and Oscar and Christine?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I think that having the sense of community, the sense of belonging, makes a huge difference. And also, like, if you guys have watched the TED Talk by Brené Brown, she talks about that like shame is fear of disconnection, and that we should have this to have this sense of belonging. We have to be able to have a community and share and be open and share vulnerabilities, and that's the purpose of Perfectly Imperfect as well. But really, to reduce the competition is the feeling of belonging, is the feeling that you have someone there for you, and who can you can help with help them with something, or they can help you with anything you need. And I think like the structure of our classes, I can even show you the classroom because I'm here right now. We sit in groups of 4, and in those groups we discuss cases with them every single morning. So every morning is a group, it's group work. So let me show a little bit. So this is our classroom, you see. So our classroom is it's like everyone sits in groups of 4 every single day, and that makes a huge difference because we're helping each other every single day. And also something else, like the last course we had that like Oscar and Christine can talk about this as well, is it's called like homeostasis 1, and it was like cardiology, pulmonology, and hematology. And we, for tests, we received cases the day before, and that made us get together with people and discuss the cases, because if we miss something, someone else would know it, and we would do better in the test because of someone else, not only because of your studying, you know. So that makes a difference when you have to get in a group to study, because some people like to study by themselves, but sometimes if a test requires group work, then you have to get together with a team. Oscar and Christine, if you guys have any other insight on how we can we reduce competition here at Harvard.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about it too. I totally echo what Hannah just said about like just the way our classes are structured. It really emphasizes that sometimes you have to solve problems in teams sometimes. But when you think about it, it doesn't really like fit with the culture of medicine, because medicine is about working together to help people. So I'm glad that our curriculum really reflects that. And I would say that like sometimes the first step starts with yourself, as hard as it can be. Um, it can be something as simple as like being honest with a friend about something you're struggling with, or like telling someone who sits next to you that you didn't understand the question. And it can be like so hard to admit that you didn't understand it, but sometimes if you open up, someone else will be like, I also didn't understand it, so let's talk about it. And I guess something else is like just being open with your resources. Someone else said like sharing flashcards and notes. And we tend to do that in our class, and I find that really nice. It really just gives you the sense that like other people are, you know, like they want you to succeed too. Like it's success is not a limited resource. We can all do well together.
Yeah, I completely agree about medicine being a team effort, and having competition among medical students. It just doesn't make sense because we're all going into careers that will require teamwork, not just with physicians but with other staff. I think what Lavinia, with your question, one of the things that it's really hard is how to create a culture of helping each other and contributing with each other's if that doesn't exist. And I think one of the things that I would advise you, that's something I did back in my university where it was very competitive, was finding those group of people that you can trust and you can work with and be vulnerable and honest. And then hopefully expanding that. That's the way number one. And number two would be change the structure. So I think one of the things that Harvard Medical School does is the whole curriculum and the structure of the class is to not have competition. So if you're able to work in your school to create a better culture or a better structure to avoid competition, I think that would be a great second step after finding your own comfort in other people, because I think that's important.
Passing on to USM now, Paul. Do you wanna say anything?
Yeah, sure. I mean, not to sound like a brokered record, but everything that everybody else said was 100% true, and holds true here too. I think structural improvements and structural factors are really important. So I think, and Hannah mentioned it earlier, having a pass-fail curriculum is huge. Not having to worry about, okay, because instead of like, imagine you're graded on a curve, like, oh, I have to be in the top X% of my class to get an A. That, by its very nature, it doesn't matter how collaborative you are in class, you're still competing by nature. By having it just be pass fail, like you need to have reached some level of competency with the material, and that's it. It fosters everybody to just focus on learning the material, which is what we should be doing in medical school. Secondly, sharing notes is huge. As Rafael mentioned, in our class Facebook page, it is flooded with everybody just putting in their notes maybe a week before the test, or their Anki decks, which is a flashcard program that they've made from our material, just in a way to get everybody working together. And there's a change in the feeling. Like you can actually feel it when somebody posts something that they put their hard work into, that they're just giving to everybody else. And you can see after that first person does it, the notes just flow in. It encourages other people to share. And then finally, just, being open and honest with your classmates, and not being afraid to say that you did something wrong or you didn't understand it, or asking your classmates for help, I think is huge also. If you're not understanding something, be like, hey, I didn't get this. And in addition to having the curriculum built a certain way and your school built a certain way, it's important to also be conscious of how the spaces in your school and building are built, whether you have a library full of cubicles, or I know we just got a new student study area that is built only around circular tables. There is no place that you can sit where you can be alone at a table. It is focused, it was built to be a collaborative space for students to get together. And it's a new space, so everybody wants to study there, but it's also a space that forces you, in a good way, to talk to your classmates and to work together. And it's hard not to talk to somebody when they're sitting across from you.
So, Kawe, now you can tell us a little bit about how it is at USP.
Okay, so yeah, I think as the majority of the med schools in Brazil, we have a lot of this competitive environment. So we have grades. A lot of people wants to be the best student of the class, and I really think it's not helpful. It's a problem we have here. Actually, I have a question for the Harvard Med School, the Harvard students. I think here in Brazil we have a lot of our professors and people from our university. They are afraid that if we open for a group test or something like that, we will allow students not to study in order, something like, okay, I will do this test with a lot of friends, so I don't have to study for this test, and for sure one or two students can answer this question, so I won't I wouldn't need to study for this specific test. So I think that's something that our professors, they're afraid about it, and I don't know if that happens at Harvard or something like that. Do you have to deal with that? I don't know.
I think that in our classes, I understand what you're saying. So you're saying that if students study in groups together and they have to answer something that, like, oh, that other person can't answer, or I'm not gonna do anything, the other person studies and answers, but like at the end you have to take a test by yourself, right? So like collaborating and really listening to each other, I think that people make an effort towards that because they know that they have to learn, because they're going to have to take tests by themselves and one day be in the hospital or in the wards making decisions by themselves. So now is the time to learn. So I think that there's that mentality, but also, like, I think the environment also makes everyone collaborate, because so in our classes we sit in these groups of 4, and then we have to discuss a case, and then when the table has to present, now instead of one person grabbing the microphone and saying the answer and the other one's just like, oh, whatever, let this person answer, I think that everyone has to say something. So like at least my society is like that. Oscar and Christine are from other societies, so they can say how it is in their societies, but I understand that could be a problem. And we had some issues in the beginning that we're not used to working groups, so we had to make adjustments of like group dynamics so that everyone could participate and everyone could feel like they're learning. And we worked a lot on that. But now the way that we do in my society is that each group, when they present a case or what they think about a case, each person grabs a microphone and talks. So like you have to study by yourself and know it, but once you are in a team, you're gonna want to learn from your team, because you're gonna have to present and you're gonna have to do it by yourself eventually. Oscar, Christine, is that how it is in your society? What do you think about that? Like one person doing it all and the rest just listening to it?
No, yeah, we're in the same society. We're in Peabody Society, and we do have like a very similar structure to what Hannah is talking about. So Peabody does have this like reputation for like being super nice, which is, I think, actually is pretty true, because I feel like every day, like when we're learning, there isn't like one person trying to like hog the attention and answer all the questions, but it's more like you pass around the microphone and try to make sure everyone has a chance to speak and ask questions. And it's like kind of like okay if you ask questions and if you don't know the right answer. And I think that's good, because like we're not here because we know everything already. We're here because we're learning. So it's totally okay to ask questions.
Yeah. And it's also okay to say that you don't know something, or just, and that's something I do and other of my peers do, where you raise your hand, and even though you might be wrong, you still say what you think, and kind of explain your reasoning. And it might be wrong, but it's kind of encouraged to just speak up, and even if you're wrong, that's okay, because yes, we're all here to learn. If we already knew all the material, we wouldn't be in medical school. So that's completely fine.
All right. Okay, we actually got a new question from Fernanda Cambraia. And I think that Fernanda was my student in Clube de Ciência Brasil. There was like a program that happened in UFMG that Brazilian students were participating in workshops, research workshops, and I think Fernanda Cambrai was my student and Paul's student as well. Hi, Fernanda. Shout out to Clube de Ciência Brasil. So her question is, I know that that is not exactly the subject that you're discussing, but I think that it might cause impact on students' life. Can you explain me how the years of graduation in med school is divided in US? Does someone want to talk about it? I think Paul, Christine, or Oscar.
Yeah, sure. So in the United States, you finish your primary school, you finish your 4 years of high school, and then unlike in Brazil where you would have 4 years or you would go straight into your professional school like medical school, you do 4 years of an undergraduate degree, which can be in whatever you want. It can be in economics, it can be in art, it can be in biology, just as long as you take the classes, like the prerequisite courses that are mostly science-based before medical school. And then you apply into medical schools, and then you start medical school, which is 4 years of sort of a mix between classroom-based learning and clinical rotations, where you're going through the hospital and you're learning how to be a doctor. And then that's usually anywhere from like 2 to 3 years of your medical school is clinical. And that varies by school. And then afterwards you do your residency, which is, I think, overlaps with how the Brazilian system does it. And that can be in a variety of fields, depending on what you decide you like most or fit most with in medical school. And then you can go on to do endless fellowships and be a student forever, or you can go on to become an attending physician. I hope that answers your question. If not, type in the comment bar.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
To us, I think maybe Fernanda understood, and so it's like you guys do 8 years, but for the first 4 years you have to do some of the basic science, and then for the 4 years afterwards you do more medical related subjects, right? Okay.
Yes.
I think that's it for today. Actually, we were here for 1 hour, and it was really nice to talk to you guys. And I think it went really well, and it was very informative. And we only had those questions, but it's okay because we had a lot to talk about them anyway. So, you want to say something?
No, it's okay. I believe that the time here for Brazilians, maybe most people are having classes right now, but they can watch the video later and we can discuss something later too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Feedback on the comments as well after.
You can answer, right? On by the comments, yes.
Yeah, so you guys can send more questions in the comments. We will answer later. And also go in our Instagrams to follow up with our projects, Perfectly Imperfect. And now Harvard Medical School will be posting a lot of videos and pictures because we just had an event for the project. And a lot of students will be sharing and faculty as well. So we're going to be posting. So our Instagram is hms.lmsa. And go ahead on Jedan too. Jadan's Instagram is Jadan? Oh, I can't hear you guys.
We're going to type it on the comments section so that
Perfect.
everyone can see.
There you go.
Better.
Thank you, everyone. That was great. That was very informative. We should do other themes as well, and we'll be here answering questions about mental health too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your questions. Best of luck.
Let's keep the conversation going.
Yes.
100%.
Thank you a lot. I believe it's very important to talk about it and we need to have courage, to not be afraid to be perfectly imperfect together. So it's a beautiful movement we are doing here. I hope it will spread for a lot of students. Thank you.
Nice.
Be strong and see
Thank
you
you for
next time.
inviting me, guys.
And you can keep sending videos like I did. I think Oscar did it too, right?
Yes.
Back to Mel. So we can try to motivate our colleagues to do it too. And so we can spread the campaign on our Instagrams.
Yeah, and guys, follow us on our Instagram account so you can see our next videos and our next live streams, and we'll keep you posted. So thank you for everyone who's participated, either here with us talking or commenting or watching at home. And just thank you guys for being here.
We also want to thank Jedan, Israel, and Ananda, right?
Yeah.
They helped a lot with the...
And Gabriel from
And Gabriel.
Diretório Científico as well. Yeah. So that's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.
See ya.